We're joined now by Amy Walter, our political guru, sometimes on this side of the table. Now, we literally turn the tables on you, Amy. And
it was heavy to move the
yes,
table.
It's very difficult. Well, let's talk first of all this enthusiasm gap. Democrats are making a lot of the fact that they're kind of closing the gap. Do you buy it? Does it make a difference?
I believe that they are closing the gap, and I think it's simply because this is what happens at the end of an election. Your base does come home to a certain extent. I mean, the idea that it could be as wide as it was over the summer seemed hard to believe. But the real question is, what do independents do? And we've seen this, Rick, poll after poll after poll. If you are losing independents, as Democrats are right now, by more than a 2-to-1 margin, getting your base back isn't going to help that much. So, you know.
Yeah, no, it's exactly it. It's the one thing to get people out there. Now, expectations game. You just blogged on this, and you say basically that train has left the station. John Boehner, like us to think this is going to be a hard push for them.
Right. You and John were going back and forth on this a little bit. I agree with your point, Rick, which is, look, it's pretty clear that whether you sit in the Republican caucus, if you sit on K Street, or if you sit following this, as so many political reporters and pundits do, the expectation is that John Boehner will be Speaker of the House. If he comes up short, it will be a bad night for Republicans, period. So I know that they're going to try to play this game out a little bit. Now, the Senate is interesting, too. I mean, over on that side, John Cornyn has a little bit of an easier game because everybody's saying it would be a stretch for the Senate to flip. But every time a state comes into play, right, Connecticut, West Virginia, now people start saying, well, it's possible. And the reality is 5 seats, that's a reasonable number, but it would still be a decent night. Not great. I think anything under 7 will be seen as an okay, but they could have done better.
Right.
No.
So what about the campaigner-in-chief? I mean, we talked about his first political ad out of the general election. Are we going to see more from President Obama on the airwaves?
Well, that's a very good question, and where we will see him will probably depend on just how democratic his state is. I mean, it's not surprising to see him up in Louisiana. I'll be curious if we see him up in Hawaii. Obviously, that's his home district. Republicans won that seat in a special election. We've seen Alexei Giannoulas in his home state run an ad with him in it. But I think that may be the extent of Obama in ads.
That's it, you think? That's the end of it.
Where else will we see him?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, although you're putting him out there in probably the best Democratic pickup opportunity in the cycle, so they don't want to put him on the line in places where he's going to end up losing.
That's right.
Well, very interesting. All right, Amy Walter, our political director. We'll let you back on this side of the table.
I appreciate it. With my own mug.
With your own mug, John.
I still have it. I think it has my name on the bottom.
Amy, get my mug back, please. Please, this is outrageous.
Don't get her to do your dirty work.
He has proven that he cannot handle these mugs. Seriously.
You don't get to boss people around. Twitter.com/Rick Klein, Twitter.com/John Carls, Twitter.com/Amy Walter. Be back with us tomorrow.